Hello, friends. Hello. Happy Friday morning, Friday, October 21st. We are here to show you the card of the day. Have some quite interesting little things going on. So if you're new here, these are like an oracle card of the day. This particular bunch that we're working on for October, these messages are from my upcoming deck, Hive Magic. In addition, it's a book called Hive Magic that we've been working on here on the channel for the past not quite 2 weeks yet. And it looks like we may be coming to the end of the actual story based on the chapter that we just channeled in and the card that's here. So we shall see. And what you see going around is our rainbow maker, the lights. So the crystal, gadgety gears and stuff with the little solar panel, and the little crystal is over here in the window. And so I thought I would sit this way so you could see how the little orbs of light are going, because the sun is really shining strongly on the crystal right now. So today's card, all of a sudden, we are at Ben and Tara's engagement party. All are welcome. So let's just see what additional messages come in from this. So it could be like there's some fun event coming up for you. It could be that you could be getting engaged. It could be that you're dreaming of getting engaged or meeting that special someone. Many things there with that. And we add to the messages with the chapter and some additional things that could be coming through for you as part of the channeling of the chapter that goes along with that card. Now, if you've been following along with the story for the past 11 or 12 days, when we last left off, Ben was tending his beehives, and the bees, his little spirit guides, the bees, stepped in and told him like, oh, you need some more honey jars. You need to go to the store. And Ben's like, oh, I guess I have to go to Hive and Barrow and get some more honey jars. And then Tara, as our star-crossed lovers, as Tara was tending her beehives, her bees came in and said, you need some honey jars. And she's like, oh, I guess I'm going to have to go to Hive and Barrow, because this is apparently the local like Hive and Barrow like bee tending supply store, I guess. And so she's like, well, I'm going to go there too. So this is chapter 11, In Your Dreams. So Tara takes her basket. I'm not going to read exactly. And she decides to ride her bike to the center of town where Hive and Barrow sits next to Harry O'Malley's Animal Emporium. She felt really alive today as the wind whipped through her hair, and she was really feeling free on the bike as it went downhill and uphill the several miles to the town center. And then we get a little bit into Tessa Lock. So Tessa Lock is a small community with a big heart. These are my bringers to the light communities, my little ethereal spirit towns, Tessa Lock and Rockaway Point. So its sister city, Rockaway Point, was the antithesis of the small town atmosphere, with larger population and many more small businesses and town activities. Now this does play into today's message only because several things. One, you may have a little day trip coming up where you go out of town and hang out like in a little town you've always wanted to go to or something. When I lived in Texas, the big place to go kind of during this autumnal time of the year was like the Texas Hill Country. And Fredericksburg and Texas was like a big place. And so was the town I lived in. I lived in New Braunfels. It was a very cute little tourist attraction town that had like Wurstfest every year and Schlitterbahn, the water park, and it was very well known. So you may want to take off and go visit some little town. The other thing that came up today for me was, obviously all these retrogrades are bringing up like things from the past, but I was like, man, I really, I've always wanted to do like a cartography, a map of Tessa Lock and Rockaway Point, because they have all these like small businesses, and it's just would be so fun to like map it all out. And so I started making a list. I started going back through all of the, I have not gone through them all yet, but I started going through the ones I recalled and the ones from the story and making like a list, because someday somebody's going to come along to help me with some of these things. Like some artist or somebody is going to come along and pair up with me, help me with some of these things. Or I picture like somebody making like did I say this already before? Like the town from Beetlejuice, where the dad is like making that miniature town. That Beetlejuice like crashes. So I made a list of all the small businesses from Rockaway Point and Tussle Lock, and those are going to come up somehow, somewhere in the work that we're doing here. But it says, overall, the two cities made a great place to visit or go out for an afternoon tea or antiquing quest. So Tara reaches the town square on her bicycle just as Ben is parking his Austin Healey in the shop's parking zone. Mildred, the meter maid, would be on him again if he parked and didn't put the appropriate coins in the meter. She was pretty tough about it, and Ben was sure that her strict diligence came from her mother's side of the family. The O'Malleys, Mrs. O'Malley in particular, had brought up their large family to be pillars of the town's ancient ancestry, and the O'Malleys could trace their roots back to Sir Galahad. Well, that's another story for now. So I feel like there may be some more. If you follow the channel in any other way, we do work with Sisters for the Sword and Brotherhood of the Rose is our kind of our little groups that we do some Bringers of the Light service work with. We work a lot with the Knights of the Round Table, with Avalon and Merlin. And big chills. And Merlin was coming up very strongly for me today. I haven't talked to Merlin in quite some time. And Merlin kind of popped into my awareness this morning. And I'm like, so more to come with all of those fun things. So Ben puts some money in the meter and he says he's going to have enough time to take care of his errands. He picks up a gift basket of honey that he's made. It's honey with sage and lemon zest. That sounds really good. Ben, I need you to give me a honey basket like that. His gift to Patsy at Hive and Barrow, because she always provided great service. So he's walking swiftly along the paved pathway to the shop just as Tara is parking her bicycle outside the front door. And Tara is it sounds like me. Tara's all up in her head, singing some tune about wistful ladies waiting for their sea captains to come home. She wasn't paying any attention to her surroundings. She was a little ungrounded. I guess that's me. Sometimes I'm like, what spirits are in this area? So maybe you're feeling that way today. Maybe you're just happy. You're going to take a bike ride. You're feeling a little wistful. You're singing a little spirit song. So she wasn't paying any attention. Rather, she was singing and kind of almost skipping along toward the door. I don't know if I skip so much out in public, but sometimes when I'm out with my dog, I do skip. And I'm like, let's skip. Oh, and this morning, my dog, she's been doing these somersaults lately. So she's a big dog. She's a Catahoula hound. And so she's pretty big. And she's she has this thing where she'll like roll on her back, but these are actual somersaults. And I was like, man, I want to do a somersault too. But this ground around here is so rocky. I was like, I don't want to like scratch my head on some big rock. Everywhere you go, it's like rocks, very rocky, very granite based. So she's singing, she's skipping along, and she loses her footing as she tripped over the little friendship rocks that Patsy had hand painted herself and placed outside the door. She was slowly, so this is Tara, and it felt like slow motion to her, falling sideways and trying to catch herself on the door handle when from behind a strong set of arms caught her fall. She felt that same dreamy, steamy, comfortable feeling. So romance is in the air today. She had in her dreams the last few nights, and as Ben reached out his arms to catch the falling girl, honey basket and jars dropping to the ground, he too felt the same dreamy, floaty, comfortable feeling he'd felt in his dreams the past several nights. Oh my goodness, Tara said, embarrassed to be caught like this. Are you all right? Ben said, righting her so she was standing to face him. Yes, I believe so, Tara said, instantly transported to a place far away. She knew this person in front of her from somewhere. Do I know you? She said, feeling that was really a silly thank you for someone who had so gallantly swept in to save her fall. I'm not sure, Ben said, feeling more comfortable than he had in some time. My name's Ben. I'm Tara, she said, feeling very safe here. Shall we go inside? Ben said, picking up his basket. I need honey jars. So do I, Tara said with a smile. chapter 11. Okay, so that's, I think, is the end of the story. I really feel like it is, and I feel like the deck is going to be about 22 cards, so double the amount of cards we have now, with the remainder of the cards being things that I'm going to pull out from these other 11, these 11 chapters, because I already have the next card. And it's kind of like a you finish the story, although I think we can tell from the last card, even though they've just met, that somewhere in their dreams in the future is this engagement party at Buns and Such, where the whole town is going to be welcome to celebrate in their pending nuptials. So maybe, like I said, there's something there for you. Maybe you're just very soon going to be meeting that special someone who's somewhere down the line could, you know, decide to come together in some sort of a commitment. My nose, oh, there is that again when my nose itches. It reminds me of like, dook, dook, dook. Isn't that what, not, yeah, is it Tabitha? Samantha and Bewitched. The little girl, when the little girl would go like, dook, 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 with her nose. And like cast a spell. So, whatever you wish for, I hope that, and I pray that your wishes do all come true. We're not done yet. I will be back. So it's interesting because that's chapter 11. I said there's going to be 22 cards, and I wanted to finish out the rest of this month each day with a card from the deck, and there's 11 more days left in the month, so 11 more cards to come for a total of 22. 22 is a little soulmate, divine counterpart number. We've got some very angel numbers coming up in the in here, and somewhere, where did they go? Oh, and we want to roll our angel number for today. So we've got the red dice and the green dice. Our angel number is 7, 7, 4. I thought it was going to be 777, but it's angel number 774 for today. All right, me loves, me hearties. See, these all of my stories are coming in now. Me hearties, the pirates. All right, guys, I want to thank you so much for joining me. Just a quick announcement, if you want to stick around here just a second, if you are following the channel for quite some time, I'm going to be dropping a Scorpio season hangout with me video here, maybe later tonight. And then I've got a little series I'm going to start doing on the podcast. So I've kind of left the podcast out there bereft for a little bit because I was like, what do I want to do with the podcast? I don't always want to provide mirrored stuff, but I do want to have, anyway, so for the podcast, and I post those podcast episodes over here, we are going to start doing a series. I'm inspired by a series that someone else has on Spotify. It's Celtic Myths and Legends. I was kind of inspired by her. That's an amazing podcast, although she doesn't post. She only posts like once every 3 or 4 months or something. Celtic Myths and Legends with Cheyenne, I'll say it wrong, I'm sure, Cheyenne Esther Powell. It's really cool, but there's not nearly enough episodes it's so good. But I'm inspired by that. So we are going to do pulling out of my books, because I've got many books, many cards. I'm starting a compendium of mischievous misfits, beguiling bad guys, and magical realms series on the podcast. We're going to bring in all of those kind of outer realm characters from all of my books and storytelling, and do a little bit of a deeper dive into some of those. So for example, from the Bringers of the Light, Count Mashar and Maggie Chalmers. From this story, the Ogre of Orkney. From the Bringers of the Light Magical Realms, so Brighty Isle, the Thunder Rose Forest from my Thunder Rose series, the Tessellock Big Pine Woods, and the Argyle Inn. So we're going to have episodes on all of those and just play a little bit with what those realms and those magical folk are all about. So with that in mind, I want to thank you all so much for joining me here. There's much more to come. I will chat with you all again soon. Take care.